And we are live.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The 12th episode so far.
Yep, it's on the show revolving around the Ed boys.
Yep. And the first show, I figured the first Cartoon Network show that I watched from on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right. Let's give a little bit of history of Ed, Edd and Eddy, shall we?
So Danny Antonucci basically did a ton of adult projects, including the Brothers Grunt on MTV.
Yep, as well as that one short revolving around a butcher cutting off his finger.
However, he then created Ed, Edd and Eddy when someone dared him to make a kids show.
And of course, you would think with a show with a rough animation style would not be as successful, right?
That is where you're wrong, because Ed, Edd and Eddy is one of the examples of this, and as we proved with Nickelodeon, that ended up being a different story with Rugrats, because that show was extremely successful.
Yep. This show ran for pretty much an entire decade.
Mm-hmm. It was originally going to end around season 4, but due to its success, it got revived. And then after 2007, it went on a 2-year hiatus, and then we got Big Picture Show.
So, all right. So, how did we first discover Ed, Edd and Eddy?
I don't remember, though. Though my mom told me that I used to watch. That I watched Cartoon Network a lot when I was a toddler. So that's when I first discovered this show. Though in spite of the fact that I did watch Cartoon Network a lot when I was extremely younger, there were shows. There were some of the shows that were running at the time I didn't know about until 2012, like Hi Hi Puffy Yumi or Time Squad.
All right. So, my first discovery of this show was actually when I looked over best Cartoon Network shows of all on the internet back in the day. This for whatever reason was somewhere at the top, like number 1 on most lists.
Though we do know that there are some people that don't really like Ed and Eddy all that much.
Yeah. And for a while I really did not have much interest in watching this because I figured it wouldn't even be my type of show. Although that wasn't until Cartoon Network on Tubi came into fruition, and I decided, why the hell not? I might as well give it a chance and watch the entirety of the show. It took 2 weeks to finish, mind you, which is the fastest I've ever finished the show. And that's mostly because each episode are like 13 episodes with 26 segments, so therefore I could likely have finished them in a day, each season in a day. So so I might as well let's see what Ed and Eddy is about and see if the hype is truly deserved. So yeah.
By the way, Mr. Clotastic, yeah, we heard about what happened with Tom Kane.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Yep. Smoking record.
What's up?
We're currently discussing about Ed and Eddy.
Oh yeah, Cartoon Network's overrated cartoon. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but I wouldn't call it Cartoon Network's greatest show.
I mean, so far I need to watch a lot of Cartoon Network shows to see which one I can confidently claim that title as. Like the most of Cartoon Network shows that I've watched the most is, well, I mean, I'm referring to watching every episode, mind you. So,
For me, Kid Next Door holds that title for me.
so yeah, like, how did you get into Ed and Eddy, or at least discover it?
Let's see. I discovered it back on Cartoon Network when I was living at my grandparents' house at the time, and I discovered it on the Cartoon Network website. But back when they had variety, and the one where probably the one with the Jawbreaker and the Ed Wrestling one are the two games I played the most.
So yeah, that's how we got into Ed and Eddy. Let's talk a bit about its art style for a bit.
It's
this is one of those shows that on the surface level doesn't seem like it would work because of how ugly it is, but it's a stylistic kind of ugly.
Yep.
Like this show was made in Canada, for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know.
Like most people think of Canadian cartoons as being overly squeaky clean cartoons. Cartoons like, say, Johnny Test or Scaredy Squirrel. Though shows like those really give Canadian cartoons a bad name because there are good cartoons from Canada.
Exactly. And yeah, like at first you would think that this show was just ugly, but when you actually sit down and watch it, there's actually a lot more to this show that this show offers outside of the visuals.
Such as the humor. Ed is one of the funniest characters of all time.
So let's off a few of Ed's beloved quotes, like 1D, obviously. Like,
I am a moose, Double D.
I think
Canadians are weird.
Shit.
Now then, eat your mattress. Yum.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing a King of the Hill edit where Hank was talking about this one kid, and when Hank entered his bedroom, it cut to Ed eating the mattress. Oh, good Lord! He's Ed. It's on YouTube.
My parents took them down because My parents took them down because I'm grounded.
That's disturbing.
Like, as we can tell, Ed 1D is the idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's the best kind. He's the best kind out there.
Yeah, better than later season of Patrick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and not only because of the fact that he's absolutely hilarious in the show, but he actually has a big heart in the show.
Yeah. Also, you want to hear the weirdest?
Like one thing is that you actually do feel sympathy for him, obviously,
yep.
because His sister is, well, we'll get to her in a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, her. I think I hate her more than Kevin. That's
And because of, unfortunately,
and when it comes to the other characters, there's also Double D. You like on the surface level of things, he seems like the genius, but he's also a character with a kind heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's practically the wimp of the trio, but it's also like tends to be like the straight man to Eddie's bullshit, Eddie and Ed's bullshit pranks.
You mean scams?
And there's even instances where where Double D tends to get back at Eddie for what he does to him.
Of course.
Yeah. Big Picture Show. That one sequence, that famous sequence in Big Picture Show, is an example of this, where he finally snaps after all of these years.
Yeah. Hey, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally.
And there's also, of course, Mama's little Ed, which.
Oh, like Ed and Eddy literally pretended that they were dead while he was freaking out. So that crash out was justified.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Other instances of Double D trying to get karma at Eddie, it also includes Mama's little Ed as well, where Eddie and Ed pull a prank on Double D by using his mother's notes to make him do whatever prank comes to their mind.
What else?
There's also the episode where Eddie basically gets the short end of the stick for tricking Ed into wasting the money on Jawbreakers instead of Sarah's fudge.
Yep. And there's also, of course, the case of Ed, which was basically just about Eddie and Ed basically trying to make Double D think that he's expiring. Which ends with, of course, Double D practically giving Kevin an advantage to beat the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Speaking of Kevin, there was also that one instance where Eddie decided to exploit Kevin's fear of needles because, of course, which ends with Eddie getting his karma.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not to say that Double D doesn't have his fair share of quotable moments. There's, of course, this instrument is so annoying.
There's also if only there were a day that we can understand the serenity of Ed's world.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello?
So Ed and Eddy.
Have you actually seen Ed and Eddy?
Yes, I have. I mean, I've seen some episodes and I enjoyed it. I mean, I was more of a Nickelodeon person, but I've enjoyed Ed and Eddy. At times, it was funny, though I would certainly hate Sarah. Was it Ed's younger sister? Correct.
Yeah, there was also the Canker sisters, but we'll discuss them when we get to them.
Right.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I will say I like Sarah's voice actress. Her voice actress is awesome, but the character is terrible.
Yeah. How did you get into Ed and Eddy?
Well, when I learned about Cartoon Network, I saw a few episodes, and I think what got me into it was when I saw that promo of Ed bashing his head on, pretend to be a woodpecker.
Oh yeah, that was from the rule breaking episode.
Yeah, and it'd have this
I'm
remake
remix with the quote.
Except to a dork.
Remixed with what was it? Billy screaming, "Destroy us all!"
That was classic.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and it was funny. And this show, like, one thing I'll give it credit to is it helped a lot of voice actors. Like, these voice actors were actually around for a bit. Samuel Vincent and what was the voice actor? Ed's voice actor's name. They do a lot of collaborations together. It helped them become household names. Like Samuel Vincent.
And there's also there's also Kathleen Barr, who would later go on to voice Trixie in MLPFIM.
Right.
That's Kevin's voice actor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and she voiced also one of the sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of MLP, there's also Tabitha St. Germain in here as well.
Oh, there's actually the show I like.
Yeah.
What was it? Ross. Well, conspiracy theories. I mean, I've seen some episodes. I plan to get caught up with the full series, but the voice actress for this, there's this band. Thankfully, the full series is on Tubi. There's this voice actress. Let me find it. Janice Judd. That was the name of Sarah's voice actress. I love Janice Judd, but hate her as Sarah. She is a great voice actress. Like her role in Roswell Conspiracy Theories, she voiced this banshee in this world that aliens are popular creatures in folklore, and she is she voices an alien banshee, and she seals it with an Irish accent. Oh, another voice actor that became a household name is Peter Kalemis. I believe that's how you say his name, right? He voiced Ralph. Peter Kalemis. I believe he also did a voice. He voiced Goku as well. He's an impressive voice actor. He voiced Captain Veladis in Dragon Prince. And here's something. You've watched Clash of the Titans, right? Smoking Wrecker?
Yes.
Well, he voiced Terry's grandmother. And here's actually an interesting fact.
Oh, wow. Oh,
see,
here's another point. Here's a Transformer fact for you. He also voiced Wingsaber in Transformers Cybertron.
Yeah.
Oh,
and here's what's interesting.
By the way,
see, he has a Greek grandmother, and he based his voice when voicing Harry's grandmother off that. So I thought that was awesome.
By the way,
with a bit of a more obnoxious side.
By the way, speaking of Rolf,
you look at a lot of shows he did, he's done multiple voices.
By the way, speaking of Rolf, this is the hat of discipline. Do you live in a cave?
Yeah, which let me look up. I was leaning towards
probably
Rolf.
The best Kanker kid here.
Mm-hmm.
Rolf is easily the best. Is easily the best kid of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he does not have a specific real world ethnicity according to the creator. It was meant to let ambiguous. I'm leaning more towards German and Greek because, as I mentioned before, if you listen to his Peter Clemis's delivery as Ralph, you can hear it in Harry's grandmother. So that's where I'm leaning towards Greek.
Yeah, Ralph respects your view to uphold the sticky notes of elders, yet you must be punished. And of course, he uses it with the hat of discipline.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, there's also Jimmy, whom carries around Plank. He's the most powerful character in all of Ed and Eddy, I'm not talking about Jimmy. I'm talking about Plank.
Yep. Plank, he could wear the Infinity Gauntlet and take on Thanos. He could also beat Goku.
Like whatever Plank come across, he's able to defeat anyone.
Mm-hmm. He would he would master Left 4 Dead 2. He would survive Left 4 Dead 2 on expert realism mode.
Fun fact: Danny Antonucci originally planned to to have Jimmy carry around a blanket, but he replaced it with Plank because it would seem too similar to Linus from Peanuts. But I think that was the best decision he ever made because Plank is a god.
Yep.
All hell Plank, am I right?
Yeah.
Right.
I could definitely see him taking over the world.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to Plank is unstoppable.
And while we're on the topic of Ed and Eddy and his humor, this show also has some fourth wall jokes. Not as much as Chowder, admittedly, but they're still here.
Practically 1 + 1 = Ed is practically the epitome of this.
There's also moments like Rolf going all like, "I love this music. It is so shiny." We could just go to our house, Eddy, and what? And ruin the plot?
Or that one episode where they decided to practically mess with the idea of flashbacks.
Yeah. I plan to revisit the show time. Thank you, Tubi. I mean, I've only seen one thing on Tubi because some other projects came up, but I'm in love with Tubi already. Like, it might be even one of my favorite streaming services.
It's free, so of course you can watch anything for free and not have to pay anything.
Yep. I mean, I have to deal with odds, but I can handle it.
Yep. And then another instance, another of course, our main boy himself, Eddy. Who was basically
He's
the head of all.
But he always gets comeuppance for being a jerk.
Right. One of the things you'll see throughout the series is Eddy hyping up his brother. At least he hints throughout the series.
Exactly. There was one time where they were trying to film a whole movie for Eddy's brother.
And yeah, they throughout the series they tend to leave hints about Eddy's brother and what he is. Although the answers we do get, we'll save that for later.
Right.
Although I will say Eddy has some of the fun. Probably, despite being a fucking asshole, he's downright hilarious.
Yeah, he's like a good example of how to do a terrible character right. Like, you would hate them in real life, but they're funny to watch.
And there's some of my favorite quotes include, "What happened to the stairs?"
My parents took them down because I'm grounded.
That's disturbing.
Right.
A little childhood trauma builds character.
Yep.
Like, I guarantee that if Eddy didn't exist, 1D and Double D would practically be accepted by the cul-de-sac.
Right. Oh, I just remembered an episode I really like. The episode, like, when they were thought, like, the Eds were missing and the rest of the cul-de-sac was searching for them. And they just found, like, all these other signs, like a misplaced scam that was going on. And Kevin just lost it.
Dorks! Which actually leaves us,
there's also the episode where Ed sleepwalks and Eddy is laughing hysterically.
I also like the episode, like, when they were planning to prank, like, these two kids, like the kids when some kids who are going camping, but it backfired, and, like, yeah, I mean, now it makes me think of Francis. I hate the woods. Francis is this character from Left 4 Dead. He hates everything.
Though there's also some not so good moments in Ed and Eddy, and let's start off with the more little things. There's of course Naz. Like, I don't really hold what happens in the series against her all that much. It's just that the show doesn't really give her all that much screen time compared to the others.
Yeah,
right.
Like, she's probably, like, aside from Sarah, she's probably my second least favorite member of the cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like, it's also a shame that Naz doesn't get more to do in this series because I could actually see her as well as her and Rolf being one of the few people who can actually stand the Eds to some degree, whereas nobody else can.
Okay.
Like the only like her only existence in the show seems to be that she's basically eye candy for the other Eds, but you need to have more of
a love interest, but don't really do anything with her.
Heck, like at least Kevin and Jimmy can absolutely be hilarious in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least they tend to work off the Eds to some degree, whereas Naz really has nothing going for her. Like, she's like my second least favorite member of the cul-de-sac, only behind
Sarah.
None of us like Sarah whatsoever.
She's the worst. You know what? I'm going to say it. She's worse than GW from Arthur.
First off, the way she treats Ed is downright awful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And apparently a lot of her actions throughout the series seem to have scarred Ed, considering the fact that there's literally an episode where he basically dreams that that Sarah was trying to cut his paddle ball, and she goes to tell their mom, but it turns out to be Jimmy in disguise, and making Ed afraid of Jimmy for that entire episode. But this very much implies that what Sarah did throughout the series pretty much scarred Ed.
Yeah, like Sissy though. Like she always seems to like getting Ed in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like
and like Ed I get that Ed can do some pretty stupid things. I get that Ed can do some pretty stupid things throughout the series, but he doesn't deserve this.
Right.
Yeah. It was honestly satisfying to see Ed finally like snap at Sarah for snap at Sarah in one of the episodes where Ed was in a bad mood.
Yeah, that episode is iconic.
Like I honestly wish we got more of this Ed seeing him stand up for himself to Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would never want a sibling like Sarah in my life.
Absolutely not. Oh, look at what Chilbyon sent in the chat.
Zayd, and Zadie.
All of them are basically Mr. Horse.
Like,
get back over here, you cul-de-sac kids. You guys are a bunch of brain-dead morons for liking the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
like, yeah, we're like, she's probably my second least favorite characters in the series, only behind Who Deserves That Title. Or second or third character I don't like in this series compared to, oh my god, these three characters.
The Kanker sisters.
They're the worst.
Yes, they truly are. Like, I get, I can't be too mad at them because they are the antagonists of the series, but that doesn't make what they do okay at all.
Like, just to boil them down, what are they? What word should we describe them?
They're two things: plot devices, and as well as rapists.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking about those sisters?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
like
I was going to make a joke that they'd be on a certain list, but nope. After that rule, nope.
We can't do those. We can't
well,
do
they'd
it.
be on a certain tiles. That's what I meant. Yep, that's as far as I'm going.
We can't even sugarcoat the Kankers. Like, they're just awful.
Yes.
Basically, they exist for two specific reasons: either to have the Eds lose at the end of an episode, only to bring the Kanker sisters in at the last moment, or to basically R-word the Eds.
Yeah. You know what? I take back. Sarah's not the worst character. The Kankers are. Because as bad as Sarah was, she didn't go near the R word.
Like Sissy though, like every time they seem to show up, they tend to make episodes worse because of it. Like, their first episode alone was already enough to get me to dislike them altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for whatever reason, they rarely, if ever, from what I know, they almost never seem to get their comeuppance at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's a good example of how to do an R-wordist is in the Boondocks with the Booty Warrior. He ended up getting what he deserved at the end of the episode. In a funny way, I might add, too. He ended up tripping over the soap and falling down to leaving Tom to finish him off. You can't have it!
Seriously though, like there isn't a single instance where the Cankers ever lose or ever get their comeuppance.
Oh, another animated, I mean, this was not a show, but a movie, Princess 2006. And I'll just leave it at the crowbar scene. If you saw the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And what the show was trying to convey to the audience is that the Kanker sisters are like supposed to be the exact opposite version of the Eds, but they are nothing like the Eds in personality.
No, hell no.
At least the Eds don't attempt to rape any of the other characters in the series.
Yeah.
Like, sissy though, like
I thought of a punishment that the Kanker sisters should receive. They should receive a visit. They should go to swim with Duke the Dolphin from King of the Hill.
And like,
Get a taste of their own medicine.
These moments show off some more problematic elements of the show in hindsight.
Yeah,
like
that is one thing from the show that hasn't aged well.
Like, to be honest, I never liked the trope of characters female characters falling in love with the main characters and attempt to either stalk or harass them.
And not like a case with Hinata or anything. I mean, Hinata's not a stalker. She's just head over heels for Naruto. But anyway,
but other examples fall flat on their face. Like that was also a problem with Panini from Chowder,
as well as Tootie from the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah,
or as well as Phoebe from Kid vs. Cat.
Right. Oh, Kid vs. Cat. Yeah, I remember that cartoon. Oh, that reminds me of something like. It made me think like another trope that I hate is like when now let me get this straight. Any kind of abuse is bad, period. But like I hate it like, when women abusing men is played for laughs. Like, I mean, it depends on the context. Now, like with a pimp named Slickback being abusive, but it's more in a satirical sense. Like, we're not meant to sympathize or root for him. But I hate the case it's funny when if a man was doing it, it would be different.
Yeah. It's bad both ways, regardless of what gender it is.
Yeah.
If you flip
imagine imagine if the Ed's genders were reversed and the Kanker sisters were actually the Kanker brothers. This would seem a lot worse.
People would be calling it out right away. Of course, I hate
but of course, because it happens to a man, it's automatically funny.
Yeah, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on from something to something more lighthearted.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's go ahead and move on to the seasons. Season 1 has the trope of on TV tropes called early installment weirdness.
Yes, it's why I try to avoid giving a first season a 5 out of 5, because TV shows are still the show is still figuring things out.
Yeah.
in this season, things are a lot more rough, including the fact that Eddy, Ed, doesn't have his iconic voice that he has in seasons 2 through onward yet.
Yeah, and the animation compared to the later seasons somehow is also rough to look at.
Though I do like the animation in the quick shot Ed episode in particular. You know, the one where the Eds go around taking pictures of the other cul-de-sac kids.
Right.
Yeah, so far the only episode in season 1 I really don't like is, of course, Nag to the Ed for obvious reasons.
Yeah, like that episode. That episode is. I mean, then again, that is the second segment of the first episode of the entire show.
Yes, but the reason why it's considered to be my least favorite episode of that season is because of one obvious problem.
The cankers.
Yeah.
Like, so far, season 1 definitely has quite a handful of episodes that we tend to like among us. Like, one of them that for me I really seem to like is the episode It's Way Ed, which is actually more relevant today when you think about it. You know those that trend called the fidget spinners?
Yeah.
How long did it take for that to stay relevant?
I mean that was it wasn't even around in 2018.
It's Way Ed is probably my favorite episode on the basis of how relevant it is because of how much it basically shits on trends and basically shows that how long they really last for.
Oh, and there's also the episode which basically predicted COVID-19, where Eddy goes so crazy that he begins gambling with squirrels.
Right.
Johnny, you dropped your face. I'll go get you a new one.
What other season 1 episode?
Oh, there's also there's also the sleepwalking episode where Ed goes around sleep eating without realizing that he is.
Yeah, like, let's see. Oh yeah, there's also, of course, Ed and Seek, which is basically their version of hide and seek.
Right.
I don't know. I guess I just love hide and seek storytelling. You know, minus that one SpongeBob episode, but still. What other season 1 episodes tend to come to mind? I'm actually going through to remember these plots.
I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the Ed and Eddy wiki.
That's almost what I'm doing as well, to remind myself a little bit, because it's been a month since I even watched that show.
Yeah. Plan to do a revisit sometime.
Because one thing you're going to see throughout the series is every title of this episode has the word Ed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually a problem with the show. it can often end up making you become confusing episodes for another. Like the Christmas in July episode, the Christmas in July episode is can be confused with the Jingle Jingle Jangle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Dawn of the Eds where they basically play in a junkyard as if it was a monster movie.
Right.
Yeah, like season one. It seems like season one doesn't tend to stand out when it comes to some of our favorite episodes compared to seasons 2, 3, and even 4 when it comes to favorite episodes in that department. Compared to 2, 3, and 4, which have more episodes that we tend to remember and enjoy more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was even checking through the favorite episodes on my server when I put them for each season, with the exception of 5. Like, I also recall liking Sir Ed a lot. You know, the one where the Eds are forced to babysit. Like I don't know if I recall that premise, but to go off of memory because
was it Sarah?
Yes. Like and of course everything turns into chaos. Yeah. Like a toast to my big mouth. Oh yeah, there's also of course Quick Shot Ed, which is probably a classic in and of itself.
Yeah, it's the one where they basically take pictures of the other cul-de-sac kids.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And even though season 1's animation is a lot rougher compared to what we see later on, I think that this has the best animation in the out of all the episodes out of all the early episodes of the show.
And there's of course Oath to Ed, which also introduced the Urban Rangers. And in their own way,
it's the episode that Mr. Enter compared the Mighty Bee to.
Right.
Yeah, so that's it for season 1. Season 2 is where I believe the show starts to get good. I mean, season 2 definitely had some favorite episodes in this season, which includes 1 + 1 = Ed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also the Canadian squirt gun episode, even though that episode did have the cankers appear near the end.
Like 1 + 1 = Ed. Like it's practically like this is probably one of the episodes where this was always the most breaking the fourth wall episode in the entire series.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, unlike Lights Out from the Fairly Odd Parents, they are very scarce when it came to that sequence where the Ed's eyeballs were in the dark.
Yeah, there's also one episode I tend to enjoy. One episode I tend to enjoy is Who Let the Ed In, which is basically just Ed annoying Double D and Eddy with his imaginary friend.
There's also the summer episode called Hot Buttered Ed.
Let me look. Yeah, and then there's of course another one that goes to hot. Oh yeah, like wait, the Ed quote recovered over the use of the perfect beach. Oh yeah, the one where they got a sunburned in it.
Yeah, they basically Eddy basically got himself a sunburn.
Yep. And there's also, of course, Mirror, Mirror on the Ed, which is basically just the Ed switching each other's life stars after a game of Truth or Dare.
Yeah, I love that episode. There's basically Double D's impression, butter toast.
Oh yeah, Ed's in a Half show. It's practically one of the episodes that makes that admit it, like seeing the fact that Jimmy actually turns the tables on the Eds by actually being an efficient scammer more than they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Though this is the season that has the episode To Sir with Ed.
What
you know the one where Naz babysits Eddy.
Right.
There was so much wasted potential in actually giving Naz a starring role. Like, you would think that this would finally be the episode that finally gives Naz more to do, but it really doesn't.
Yeah, this is such wasted potential. Though, there's also the episode "Stop Looking Ed," which basically has the woodpecker meme.
Right.
I'm a woodpecker, except with dirt.
And there's, other episodes I also like for whatever reason was Honor Thy Ed, because I just like me a good haunted house story that goes, inside an old abandoned house. Although that also had to be ended by the cankers.
The cankers ruin everything.
Like, play a drinking game for any time we hate on the cankers.
Yeah. The episode was so close to being there too, considering the fact that the Eddy as well as Double D and Ed pretend that they're being attacked in the haunted house, but they end up getting caught.
Uh-huh.
What is it with the cankers being treated like gods?
Which, look, Ed's pranking, would have been good enough for punishment, but it didn't have to involve the cankers.
Mm-hmm. Give Chowder this. At least every episode. At least that show didn't have multiple episodes ending with Panini being there just because. She was in a select few episodes.
Plus, at least Panini, from what I remember, doesn't go nearly as far as the cankers. like yeah, and yeah, this also results in episodes like Home Cooked Dads, which was basically just watching the Eds practically get tormented by cankers. I tend to dread any episode that has. I at this point I almost feel like dreading every episode watching this series going forward because I know for a fact that they're going to inevitably show up.
Like the Canadian squirt gun episode literally ends with the cankers coming out on top.
Mm-hmm.
And that episode was really fun too.
Right.
Canadians are weird.
Let's see, going to these episodes again. There's also, of course, from what we know. Oh yeah, Stop Look Ed, the one where Ed and Eddy start breaking rules.
Mm-hmm. It's also the episode with the I'm a woodpecker, except with dorks meme.
Like seriously though, like that, I would love to see what the world would be like with no rules.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and while we're on the topic of weak episodes in season 2, there's also of course Key to My Ad. Guess what? That's what ends up.
What?
Oh no.
Takers.
Ah!
As you can tell, we like the Cankers might be some of the worst cartoon characters we've witnessed so far.
Mm-hmm. They might be like top 3 even.
Let's just move on to season 3. Hopefully season 3 doesn't have an episode that gets ruined by the Cankers. I second guessed myself because we're going to talk about some of the bad ones in season 3. I don't know if I've been looking through the wiki as well as on Tubi. This episode tends to get listed as either a season 3 or a season 4 episode. And yeah, an episode is bad when the white sites can't even get which episode from the season it's on. If it smells like an Ed.
The most infamous episode.
At the time, anyway. Although it's not home to the worst episode, we'll be getting to a few of them later. I was actually not the episode really wasn't that bad. It was basically just the Ed solving the mystery on who acts on who destroyed their float. But of course we get to but until we got to the reveal of that Jimmy was the one who framed them.
And then of course the episode ends with the Cankers dragging away the Eds while they're tied to a fence.
Get these eyesores out of here. Why do they seem to be used as nothing more than plot devices?
I have no clue. Apparently, Danny Antonucci based these 3 off of the cankers he had to deal with when he was younger, but I don't know why he keeps on. I don't know why they keep on using these 3 as plot devices.
let's see. Let's go into some other episodes in season 3 we don't really like all that much.
My Fair Ed. My Fair Ed.
Oh yeah, the one where all the blame has to go to Double D of all things.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently this one also isn't all that well liked, but apparently for whatever reason that's X marks the Ed. You know, the one where Eddie gets a pimple. But yeah, those are the only 3 episodes in season 3 that we don't particularly like.
Oh, a highlight in this season is the episode "The Luck of the Ed." I did not get what this episode was trying to imply when I was younger, but the episode as an adult when you get older is about Ed hiding his secret magazines that are basically important to Ed because of to Eddie because of the pictures.
Right.
Yep. And then there's also, of course, Once Upon an Ed, which is basically where the Eds tell their version of how they came to be stuck in Johnny's wall.
Right.
Yeah, but too bad that this episode had to have the cankers.
What is it with them ruining good episodes?
Right.
If there's one reason why I don't believe this show deserves to be titled on the best Cartoon Network show of all time, it automatically has to be the cankers.
Yeah, and I would make a joke revolving around a certain witch being into this episode because of one sequence where the cankers grow big, but I know that we can't do that anymore.
Right.
Let's see, going through all the other seasons. Oh yeah, Mama's Little Ed. The one where, of course, where Ed and Eddie basically fool Ed into doing some stuff, some hilariously stupid tasks using fake sticky notes.
Right.
Oh yeah, and then there's of course 3 Squares and an Ed, aka the one where Ed is grounded.
Yeah. That iconic meme. What happened to the stairs? My parents took them down because I'm grounded. That's disturbing.
Let's say going through. And this one for whatever reason, this episode is the one I can actually relate to anyone doing this. Is that it's Ed and away, but then it's give the Eds basically spot a floating red balloon and spend the entire day chasing it. I'm pretty sure you would relate to this.
That episode is iconic.
Yeah, who's been wanting to do that at any point? Chasing a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, of course, another one that comes to mind is, of course, I'm trying to go through the wiki to remind myself a little bit of these episodes. Because Dueling Eds.
Right.
Which was basically the episode where Rolf challenges Eddy to a duel after disgracing his heritage.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what people, what you guys think of this episode. There's also the episode "Boys Will Be Eds,"
right.
where all the boys basically compete for Naz's affection.
Oh yeah, that one I also really like as well. Although more so because of the boys' actions and not really Naz.
Yeah, and the fact that they basically get punished. They basically get punished in the end. It makes the episode worth it.
What a bunch of simps.
Oh, there's also Rockabye Ed.
Let's see, Rockabye Ed, because I want to remember these titles. Rockabye Ed, Eddie, Rockabye Ed. Oh yeah, Ed has a nightmare about Johnny and his fit. Oh yeah, I definitely remember this one now. And the last of the episodes I tend to really like is "Don't Rain on My Ed." Like, we're basically don't rain on my head. It was basically the episode where the Eds encounter obstacles on their way to the candy store for a Jawbreaker sale.
Oh yeah, I especially love that moment in the episode where Eddy goes all like, "Cakers, extreme close up."
Yeah,
yeah.
This show tends to have a lot of episodes where the main premise is the Eds wanting a Jawbreaker. Which I don't really see why it's such a big deal to them. Why the Jawbreaker tends to be the number one treat in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Yeah, because I heard that Jawbreakers are not good for the tongue.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna lose a lot of teeth, but just by eating one of those.
And their and their tongue would basically bleed if they lick it.
So that's it for some of season 3's iconic episodes.
And now we get to season 4. Basically, the last of the iconic episodes before we get to the show's weakest season.
Yep. Let's get the bad ones out of the way first. Your Ed here.
Yeah. The episode where Kevin basically blackmails Ed with either doing what he wants or he'll basically tell the cul-de-sac kids his middle name.
Oh, by the way, his middle name is Skipper.
What's wrong with that name?
First of all, I'm already thinking of this guy.
Same.
Yeah. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
That episode was basically just watching Eddy get tortured for something that he didn't even deserve. Because of course Like seriously though, Skipper. Like
and there's also Sorry Wrong Ed. There's also Sorry Wrong Ed, where Eddy basically constantly gets the short end of the stick because he took a phone that Rolf threw away.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually disagree with you on this one because I actually thought that was hilarious thing. Eddy gets what's coming to him because he should have just heeded Rolf's warnings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but unlike Sorry Wrong Edward, he did nothing to deserve it. Like, and oh, by the way, the point back the ending to that episode, that end like when Double D says what his middle name is to Eddy. Basically, Double D's middle name is basically Marion. Eddy decides to do the same to him. What Kevin did to Eddy. Wow. Way to screw over the one person who was willing to feel sympathy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god. Like, whereas seeing Eddy suffer and Sorry Wrong Ed was hilarious. This was not one of them.
But other than that, this season has so many iconic episodes. One that I don't see a lot of people talking about is Thick as an Ed, which has that conversation with Double D and Ed. Stinky hat.
Mm-hmm.
Odoriferous Kirk coat. Stinky hat.
And there's also, of course, an Ed is Born, which was basically them trying to make a home video for Eddy's brother.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Little Ed Blue is also a classic.
Let me go through it. A little Ed Blue, a little Ed Blue. A little Ed Blue. Ed suddenly becomes prone to fits of anger. Oh yeah, that episode. Where the give us the iconic moment of seeing Ed snap at Sarah.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, the reason as to why Ed was in such a bad mood was because he had a pebble in his shoe.
Like, which I'm pretty sure would be painful for anyone to have on their foot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ed, which goes to show that Ed is very delicate, and any wrong move could basically put him in a bad mood.
Let's see. Let's go. I'm going through some of other season 4's best episodes, which include an Ed in the Bush, which is basically just Eddy attempting to scare the Urban Rangers during their camp out to prove that they are big phonies. Let's see. For the Ed, by the Ed. Let's keep going through them again.
Oh, there's also One Size Fits Ed.
One Size Fits Ed. Let's see. One size fits Ed. One size fits Ed. Like, one size fits Ed. All right. The Ed trained Jimmy to become the world's greatest sumo wrestler. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go into these episodes. Oh yeah, and one of them I do recall liking was For the Ed by the Ed, which is the one where Eddy runs against Plank for the election, so Eddy can prove that he is the king of the cul-de-sac.
But we all know that Plank is unbeatable. He's a god of chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm pretty sure this episode would be more accurate today, wouldn't it?
Uh-huh.
We're not gonna say any names because of his certain actions. Because, like I said, we can't do these kinds of jokes anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one that comes to mind is A Twist of Ed, which is the one where Double D teaches reverse psychology to the other Eds, and they plan on ridding the cankers with their newfound methods. You know, A Twist of Ed's the one where they basically finally get back at the cankers.
Yeah, this is the closest that we ever see the cankers actually getting punished for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If every episode was like that, then we would probably hold this show in much higher regards.
Oh, Hand Me Down, Ed. That one's also great.
Yes, the one where a mysterious boomerang is passed from one person to another with strange effects. Yeah.
The sequence. I gotta ask, how did the sequence where Double D literally takes off all of his clothes, leaving him and leaves himself in his underwear, fly past the censors?
That's so funny because Hand Me Down Ed is actually pretty dang funny in that regard. There's also, of course, Robin Ed, which was basically just Eddy vowing revenge on the masked stranger who ruined his scam. If you're wondering who Robin Ed was, or if you're wondering who that superhero today was, where Captain Melonhead. Oh yeah, this was the one that introduced Captain Melonhead.
Mm-hmm. Who would end up becoming a character who would end up showing up in the Big Picture show.
And not really an episode worth noting, but I love this title. Take this, Ed, and shove it!
Yeah. A fun fact about Ed, Edd and Eddy is that it's one of the last cartoons to be animated in traditional cell animation.
Yeah. Season 4 was definitely the last season where it definitely looked at the familiar style that we've been used to. Whereas season 5 has a noticeable change in the animation quality.
I mean, in season 5, it does look cleaner, but it just doesn't feel the same without it.
Same here. Like, season 1 may have looked rougher, but seasons 2, 3, and 4 were probably the best seasons of the entire series. Because those seasons actually felt like the style was balanced. And that just leaves us with season 5.
Which is the weakest season of the entire show.
Well, we're not counting season 6 because it only has 2 episodes.
Seasons 5 and 6 I consider the same because they pretty much feel the same.
Yes. And this is where basically the season where the Eds go to school.
Yeah, although a missed opportunity with this season is that they don't really introduce a lot of character. They don't introduce any other students that the Eds could balance off of, which I could have seen potential in, but they basically limit the cast, the amount of characters that are in the school to the cul-de-sac kids.
Like, yeah, like this school is so shockingly empty of all things. Like, this is like one thing that's worth noting is that this was the only season where it had 3 specials.
Yeah. Apparently, the show was about to. A fun fact about season 4 is that it was actually supposed to be the last season of the show before they decided to before it got renewed one last time, and this and we ended up with season 5. Ended up getting season 5.
Yes, like it got 3 specials, all of them each focused on a specific Ed. Like, there's of course Jingle Jangle Ed, which focuses on Eddy.
Yeah, and there's also Boo Ha Ha, which focuses on Ed.
And of course, the best of the trio is definitely the Hanky Panky Hullabaloo, which focuses on Double D.
Yeah, and like when I was younger, I remember these episodes, but to be honest, this season 5 doesn't really feel like it's part of the same show that gave us the first 4 seasons. Like if you watched this season when you were really younger, a lot younger, you'd probably probably think that this was like a fan fiction or something.
Yeah. Like, I'll say this, like, the specials were not that bad, were actually pretty decent. Like, Hanky Panky Hullabaloo was probably the only time I ever liked a canker in any sense of the word. Like, the only time I ever did. Plus, it gave us that hilarious moment of seeing Rolf hate on Valentine's Day. And as a Valentine's Day hater myself, I can relate.
Also, and also, Jingle Jingle Jangle was actually a nice way to start off season 5.
Yep. And then well, Boo Ha Ha is it's practically the weakest, since I love the little visions that Ed has after watching a horror movie, which is actually pretty neat. Although one issue you could say that it does tend to get repetitive, with saying Ed practically destroy everyone's Halloween time fun.
Though if you notice the air dates of the specials, they basically aired way before season 5 even started.
Yep, and that just leaves us with season 5. Oh boy! But let's get started with one of the problems with this season.
Like I mentioned before, the school feels so limited, in that that the only students that inhabit this school are the cul-de-sac kids as well as the cankers. We don't see any other students, despite the fact that schools are usually filled with a ton of kids.
And then there's, of course, the bad episodes, which leads us to the worst episode of the series.
Smile for the Ed.
I hate this episode. First of all, this goes to show that some of the writing team really did not learn from your Ed here, as that episode has the same problems as this one does. Except somehow even worse, because this episode is insistent on torturing Eddy, all because he was trying to take a good a good photo to get his brother's room.
Despite the fact that it's an empty room.
Like, seriously though, like, and of course, like, this is the episode that where people say Kevin's character is. Like, let's get something clear. Let's talk a bit about Kevin as a character first, since we haven't brought him up in this stream.
Like Kevin is usually called a jerk and the worst character, one of the worst characters of the show. I heavily disagree on this. Sarah, as well as the Canker sisters, are far worse. But Kevin is there's not much to really bring up about his character.
Yeah, like, one thing that people seem to hate him for is the fact that he's a bully, ignoring the fact that he has a reason to. For one thing that tends to be noticeable is that particularly Eddy tends to provoke Kevin a lot.
Mm-hmm. And
hey, Mom, I'm doing a stream with friends. Sorry, my mom's nearby. Mm-hmm.
Like Kevin doesn't really start his bullying antics on the edge only until after they've provoked him.
Exactly. Here though, it's completely unprovoked.
Like he literally just calls, like, Kevin calls Eddy a dork, and for whatever reason, it causes the photo to be bad. I'm sorry, but look at this frame for a bit and tell me if you don't notice a problem here. Like, all right. So yeah, like, let me go through it. Like, look at this frame for a bit, because this frame is important. Would you look at this? Looks normal, right?
Yeah. But it turns out that Eddy messed up the picture because Kevin called him a dork, even though he should be used to this by now.
And like here's how this episode would have been fixed. Basically, have Eddy turn his head very slowly and cut Kevin out of here, because he does not help this episode's case. Have him, like, turn around very slowly, and then he wasn't in time for the photo to be shot, and boom, it would have gotten it across perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, but then as if it wasn't bad enough, Kevin just, like, got access to the photo, and basically he decides to spread it around the school, and everyone laughs at him.
Mm-hmm. And to top it all, even worse is that eventually in the episode, Double D basically gets a hold of the camera so that they can retake the photo, only for Kevin to basically put Eddy's embarrassing picture in front of the camera, causing the photo to get ruined again.
And of course, Eddy is the one who gets punished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though throughout the entire episode, Eddy did nothing to deserve it.
Yeah, like, exactly.
At least if it smells like an Ed, you could sort of argue that Eddy sort of deserved what he got, given that he gave Jimmy a wedgie. Not here, though.
And with sorry wrong Ed, you could at least argue that that Eddy not listening to Rolf's warnings resulted in him getting bad luck.
But in here, like, this is probably the only time where one of the only times where Eddy just straight up did not deserve it. other bad episodes in this season also range from also another episode in season 5 I really hate is cleanliness is next to Eddiness.
Yeah. This episode basically torments Double D because he just wanted to take a shower, and not to mention either this episode also gets extremely gross.
Like if you're wondering why that just giving one Ed the amount of screen time and not all of them is a bad idea, this is why. Like, we're just watching like Double D literally get denied a bath, and the one time that he was ever offered one by Naz, he practically just rejects it.
Yeah, though the reason as to why he basically rejects it is because Naz's mom had her clothes in the bathtub all over, even though he could have just asked Naz to basically remove the clothes from the bathtub.
And of course, it ends with, of course, Double D getting screwed over. What is it with picking on the most normal kid in the trio?
This episode is basically, and this episode can also get really gross too. Double D literally gets covered in cow poop.
How is that funny?
It's not.
Yeah, what other season 5 episodes we really don't particularly like?
Oh, there's also Mission Ed Possible, where Double D gets Ed and Eddy into trouble. Eddy, I can understand because he has no excuse for why he's flunking his classes, but I feel sorry for Ed in this episode.
Yeah, as if it already wasn't bad enough that because he already has a shit sister who gets favorited. Oh yeah, one of the episodes that I also recall getting brought up in bad episodes of Ed and Eddy was also Tinker Ed. I'm pretty sure I remember this. Like, are y'all familiar with the episode Tinker Ed?
It sounds familiar.
I don't blame you if practically forgotten about this one.
And a fun fact about Smile for the Ed. It was one of the last episodes of the series before the show went on a 2-year on its big hiatus, because the only other episodes after it were Run Ed Run, A Town Called Ed, A Fistful of Ed, The Eds Are Coming, The Eds Are Coming, May I Have This Ed, and Look Before You Ed.
Like, yeah. And of course, and we're going to extend season 6 in this as part of season 5 since they're practically the same. I really recall not liking the episode Look Before You Ed. Like it's basically the episode where Double D consults Jimmy to help make the school safe, and of course, 1D and Eddy decide to make the situation worse for everyone to the point where they all get punished.
Mm-hmm. Also, personally speaking, I'm glad that after season 5, the show instead of going on longer and potentially going through a seasonal rot, was traded out for us getting the big picture show.
Yes, and that leads us to some of the season 5's best episodes. aside from the 3 specials, there was, of course, Every Which Way But Ed, which was my favorite episode of that season, where it's basically the Eds end up lost among the flashbacks within flashbacks and trying to figure out how to get back where they started. Yeah, like, it's basically them about the flashback on how Eddy stole a jarbreaker from Johnny.
Mm-hmm. There's also a Fistful of Ed, which is basically which was basically one of the last episodes, and I think was an amazing way that the show could have gone out. Not counting the Eds are coming, which the Eds that episode was basically part of Cartoon Network's little Cartoon Network invaded ratings trap that they did, which literally nobody even wanted to be a part of, but Cartoon Network decided to have them do it anyway.
Yes. And there's also, of course, that infamous marathon from Cartoon Network.
Yeah, the other shows that were part of this little event were Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Camp Laszlo, Billy and Mandy, and My Gym Partner's a Monkey.
At least be thankful that Ed and Eddy didn't have the worst one.
Yep.
If I ever binge Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which I'm more likely going to, although currently I'm right now binging The Amazing Digital Circus, so we'll have to wait and see if I ever binge whatever CN show is going to be next on my binge list. Yeah, but yeah. From what I know, apparently a lot of people seem to love that episode.
Yeah, it's often considered as one of the best episodes out of all the ones in the Cartoon Network Invaded special. Though other people consider the Billy and Mandy one to be the best.
Yep. And to get back onto some of the best of season 5, Fistful Ed was actually really dang good. Like as we actually see Jimmy and of course Double D actually work off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for once, Eddy actually sticks up for Double D.
Yeah, and this episode was actually advertised as the last episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy. And I think that this was like the perfect send-off before the TV movie, yeah?
Yep. And let's see, going through all the other beloved season 5 episodes that come to our mind, one of them I tend to like is, of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Ed, which is basically just Eddy, yet again, trying to prove that the Urban Rangers are phonies by challenging Rolf to the most difficult badge, the Hairy Chest of Resilience badge. And let's see, I'm going through all the season 5 episodes that tend to come up to mind in terms of episodes we really like. Oh yeah, All Eds Are Off. The one where the Eds, Kevin, Rolf, and Johnny all make bets to see who can put off their annoying habits the longest. Guess how well that goes. But yeah, that's as far as all the season 5 episodes we tend to like. Which only leaves us with one more important thing to discuss. Big Picture Show.
Yep. Easily, what is considered to be one of the best animated movies based on a cartoon. And that's saying something because this wasn't even theatrical, but yet Teen Titans Go to the Movies was theatrical instead of this.
Cartoon Network, please release their movies in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad we're never gonna get a Gumball movie in theaters because that would have been great.
Yeah.
It finally, as this finale finally answers the question, who is Eddy's brother? Well, he doesn't have a name, so already that's already a pretty big descriptor of him.
Mm-hmm. Here's a little bit of a fun fact about this special. This movie aired a night after Truth or Square did, so you can tell who had the better TV movie. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Was Eddy's brother worthy of all the hype we got from all the hints? Nope. Because guess how he turned out to be?
He's a bully to his brother.
Yep. And this actually puts into finally makes us actually reevaluate Eddy's character a lot more. And it was actually the moment that people tended to reevaluate Eddy's character as he is a jerk, but there's actually more to his character than some people thought. As it finally gave us the reason onto why Eddy's the way he is.
Mm-hmm. And of course, this movie also has Double D finally snapping at Ed and Eddy,
which was long overdue.
Basically, and it's very justified as to why he does this because they basically tricked Double D into thinking that they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Though this episode, though this movie also has the cankers being here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Although thankfully at least this time, when they find out that oh wait, I forgot I can't even compliment these dicks. But yeah, but there is one instance where they actually do attempt to do it to Eddy's brother. Yeah, throughout the movie, everyone is on the search for the Eds because they did something so bad that even at the beginning of the movie, everything is in complete silence, and we're not even knowing on what scam went so horribly wrong that they're now on the run.
We get hints. We get a hint at what it was at one part of the movie. Double D basically told Eddy to not push the red button or of some kind.
Oh. And the red button leaves to all the cul-de-sac kids pissed.
It's kind of it's kind of like the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. You never know what's in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And that piece of ambiguity actually makes the film better. Although one thing I will admit that I do have a criticism towards the ending is actually more to do to the fact of how everyone is a bit too accepting of the Eds after that reveal.
Though it does, it does lead to the last fourth wall moment in the entire franchise, where basically, where Double D mentions how many episodes and seasons and a movie there were.
Yep. And the last bit that we get in this series is Captain Melonhead, the last scene of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Honestly, but though to be honest, I'm actually glad that they basically capped off Ed, Edd and Eddy right here, because I don't know where the series would be right now if they let this show go on for for longer. I mean, we saw what happened to Dexter's Laboratory when when Cartoon Network brought the show back with Chris Savino, as well as what happened with the Powerpuff Girls and what we saw with the Fairly Odd Parents over on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, like the one thing I'm glad is that throughout the series, Danny Antonucci was practically behind everything in this series. He was actually consistent throughout the series when it comes to handling this series, when it comes to like how the show would go.
Though apparently the only episode that that Danny Antonucci was not involved in was Smile for the Ed, which happened to be the worst episode of the show.
And that just goes to show how bad that episode was when not even your own creator was involved. And yeah, like this show ended in 2009.
The 10-year anniversary of when the show started. And around this time, you could really tell that Cartoon Network was doing better than Nickelodeon, because, fun fact, Big Picture Show actually premiered the night after Truth or Square on Nickelodeon.
Yep. And like this, as well as Foster's, also ended that year as well. Like let's talk about Cartoon Network during that period for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Cartoon Network may have gone through its worst phase, the CN Real age, but they quickly picked themselves back up with Adventure Time
and regular show. Like that CN Real block nearly damaged Cartoon Network.
Yeah, although thankfully it was considered as a mistake, and they'd done all they could to basically reverse it, to the point where Stuart Schneider ended up resigning from Cartoon Network in 2014.
Yeah. Although I'll admit one thing I gotta give CN Real credit is the fact that I can at least tell that CN wanted to do something different with the network. But unfortunately, what they ended up choosing ended up being a pretty awful era, which their shows were either dead on arrival or were just rip-offs of other shows.
Exactly. Exactly. Though Cartoon Network was not the only ones who were suffering around this time. There was a point when Disney Channel got so focused on live action to the point where Phineas and Ferb ended up being the last cartoon standing on from the company, until Kick Buttowski premiered in February of 2010, leaving Phineas and Ferb basically on their own for an entire year.
Yeah, like, I will admit, which era of Cartoon Network would I have preferred? The one in 2009 with CN Real, or the one in 2017 with Nothing But Teen Titans Go?
I honestly prefer 2009, because at least at least you could watch the other shows without needing to watch CN Real.
Yeah, at least you can tell Cartoon Network was at least trying something different, and at least you can tell there was some variety, unlike 2017 Cartoon Network, where it was just Nothing But Teen Titans Go.
Even though in 2017 OK KO Let's Be Heroes premiered, it wasn't worth it when we saw Nothing But Teen Titans Go, and I would have preferred I would have preferred if they had variety in their schedule where they aired the other shows.
Yes, which at least say what you will about the dark ages of Cartoon Network, but at least they had variety.
Mm-hmm. And like personally, if Cartoon Network goes back to normal, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing their shows from the late 2010s airing alongside their newer shows and the classic shows, because the new shows that they were premiering around that time were good. It's just that Teen Titans Go was getting in the way.
Yeah, like, and I don't mean just dump them on Boomerang, because we all know what happens with Cartoon Network. If Cartoon Network doesn't watch your show, it goes on to Boomerang.
Yep.
Case in point, what they did to Panicula, or as well as Wabbit. I'm not calling it New Looney Tunes for the record. Be Cool Scooby-Doo, and as well as the 2014 Tom and Jerry show.
As well as Sonic Boom.
Exactly. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. And like and like, to me, I think that Cartoon Network's worst era was like 2017 all the way to 2020.
Although, so far I have never heard of a new show come from Cartoon Network as of late.
Exactly. Though with David Sleaze Sleazebag being gone, hopefully the channel could recover.
Yes, like, I feel like David Sleazebag did way more harm to Warner Brothers, to the point where Cartoon Network is practically non-existent. To the point where no new show has come out.
For Tubi.
Yeah, where no new show has came out. And it's basically just reruns of their old shows, around from the 2010s.
But even then, it's not all of the shows from the 2010s. Like, because of the fact that David Sleazebag got rid of a lot of 2010 shows, the channel is basically left with practically only their popular shows airing, and like not some of the other beloved shows that were also beloved.
So yeah, and I feel like Cartoon Network, like Ed and Eddy ending at the time was actually appropriate.
Yep. Especially considering the fact that if the show continued without Danny Antonucci, it would have gone through seasonal rot. Like, take a look at what happened to Dexter's Laboratory after it got forcibly revived after Ego Trip.
Yeah, sometimes there are shows, like, when I think it's good, like, to just have a natural conclusion. Like, look at Family Guy. So there's debate of when it really went downhill.
Yeah, both Cartoon Network and Danny Antonucci.
Disney didn't ruin it. It was ruined when Disney bought it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hold on. I have to do that meme.
Yeah, like Danny Antonucci.
It was ruined when Family Guy was ruined when Disney bought it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, that Cat in the Hat movie was garbage.
Yeah. But
yeah, like Danny Antonucci knew when to end the show on his own terms.
Mm-hmm. I have ideas for stories to end on, and I plan to only go so far, and I want to end them on my turns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think now it's time to give a bit of our closing thoughts on the show as a whole.
It was a funny show. Definitely plan to revisit it. Though there are some elements where I wouldn't rank it as high as other shows, because my favorite show, Cartoon Network show, will always be Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yep, that show is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Ed and Nettie will always remain a classic.
Yeah, yes. I agree. It was both good for its time and still holds up now. Although if it got rid of the cankers, this would definitely be deserving of the best CN show.
Yeah, though with the Kanker sisters being here, I do need to preference this by saying that there is a problematic element in the show that has not aged very well, but that is the side effect with a lot of older shows. Like I like Cat Scratch, for instance, but the worst aspect of that show is Gordon's thing that he has for human Kimberly.
Yeah. Now, like, it's not like, let's say, like, a character in love with a humanoid creature, like, let's say Goliath and what's her name, the lady from Gargoyles, or like, a vampire and a human romance done right, like not like in Twilight, or you get the idea. I mean, Shrek and Fiona's romance made sense, and that was before Shrek learned that she was cursed. But yeah, it's weird, like, seeing animal characters have a thing infatuated with human characters.
Yep. And then Eddy is practically a funny show with characters you like, and as well as characters around them that you mostly enjoy. Well, minus Sarah. Fuck her.
Yeah. But yeah. Ed and Nettie is a beloved classic. Like, I wouldn't say that this is Cartoon Network's greatest show of all time. I mean, even in terms of 90s Cartoon Network shows, the best Cartoon Network cartoon of the 1990s is Courage the Cowardly Dog.
For sure.
But so yeah, that ends our examination of the three Ed boys. 1D, Double D, and Eddy.
Mm-hmm.
I am not even sure what the next show will be covering for June, because dang, we have been a lot more consistent with getting these uploaded each month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did plan on doing one for Toy Story, so we'll have to wait and see which one's next.
Right.
Oh yeah. And something that was brought up earlier is the fact that it's finally the 25th anniversary of Shrek.
Yep. Not yesterday.
Stop singing.
It's kind of fitting that it's kind of feels now like a missed opportunity to save it until May of this year to do it. But hey, whatever sticks, sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. With David Sleazebag gone, I honestly would like Cartoon Network to bring back the cartoons that were basically thrown out, and basically have them air on Cartoon Network again, like have Ed and Nettie air alongside something like OKKO or Chowder.
Right. And not just their checkered past stuff as well, where they only air it on Adult Swim. Yeah, remember the time where they were airing all their old shows early during this decade on Adult Swim?
Yep.
So yeah,
and by the way, to correct you guys, the shows that were removed off of HBO Max in August of 2022, those are not tax write-offs. they were vaulted. The only shows that are considered as tax write-offs were the ones that were removed in July of 2022, which includes Final Space and Thundercats Roar.
Right, which I decided to stop using HBO Max after finding some views from the CEO, when at this point they might as well name it to HBO Minimum. And by the way, do not see the new Harry Potter show.
A part of me doesn't even want
HBO Max also removed Ed, Eddy.
Mm-hmm.
And practically like a bazillion other shows from earlier Cartoon Network shows as well. At least we're glad that Tubi did something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that ends tonight's episode on our discussions of cartoons. Hopefully we'll see you back in June when we find out which will end up being our recipient.
Right.
Because God, it's been like 2 months since I ever binged a Cartoon Network show on Tubi.
Maybe next you could binge either Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends or Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, there's so many shows I want to binge right now. So far I've binged. Currently I'm binging The Amazing Digital Circus. I've binged this show as well as The Owl House. So that makes it about 3 shows I've binged so far to completion.
It's a good thing that Amazing Digital Circus only has like 8 episodes so far, so you can be able to catch up with the show up to episode 8.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to God that I'm even able to remotely see it in a theater.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the Amazing Digital Circus gets better in its second half.
I've currently finished the 4th episode right now. So yeah, with that out of the way, see you next time.
There's something that Diaz that Chilbyon sent in the chat.
The Amazing Diaz Digital Circus.
All of them are basically all of the main characters, including Kane, are basically just Diaz Station.
So with that out of the way, see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.